Alright, so this is my room. For the experiment, I'll be using my laptop as my client machine. We can see right here that the RSSI value for this particular laptop right now will average right around high 30s, low 40s. As soon as I walk away, it will at least. We can see that the power level of my wireless antenna has been dropped down to 5 dBm, which is to match the signal strength for my cell phone. Additionally, I wanted to go ahead and just state that I have changed the MAC address to that of my cell phone. So just to show that real quick, I'll go ahead and go into my settings and just verify that this is in fact my MAC address. Okay. Now going back through, yes. So again, low 40s, high 30s. Okay. So now I'm going to take my laptop and bring it over to my my living room area. So this right here is where the monitoring station will be. This will be the actual system that runs my IDS tool. Additionally, you'll see that there are blue tape marks on the ground. This is from the grid for my Bluetooth blueprint for my apartment. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in the system right here. 1 second. Okay, let's go ahead and move it over slightly. Okay, and so we see right here that this will hover right around high 30s, low 40s as well. For whatever particular reason, this one's actually slightly lower than the other one, but they're within threshold, so they have very, very similar values. So essentially what this means is that the RSSI values associated with the laptop here and where my cell phone would be over there are actually quite similar. So this means that it would be very hard to try to trick my system into believing that a spoofed MAC address will be the same. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and stop that. All right. The next thing that we're going to go ahead and do is start. The next thing that we're going to go ahead and start to do is basically ping the router once every second. This will just ensure that no matter what we're doing, we can get the correct RSSI value associated with our device, that it will be constantly updated. Okay? So with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and come over here and start to, first off, I guess, record my screen. So and then the next thing we're going to go ahead and do is just start the scanning process. Okay? So this process right here will take about 30 seconds or so. Alright, so now what we're going to go ahead and do is leave that running and then move on to the learning phase. So the learning phase will essentially take measurements of the RSSI value associated with my client machine. Once that happens, it will start taking measurements for the threshold values. Okay, so while this is happening, just to ensure that we're still connected to the wireless access point, we're going to go ahead and start up YouTube, right? And as a side note, the IP address associated with this device right here is 192.168.1.9, which is the same as the IP address associated with my cell phone. Okay, now it should be done. Okay. Alright, sorry about that. I seem to have paused the video, so I'll just go and re-say what I said before. So now that we have completed the learning phase, we essentially have collected enough information from our laptop to basically get the threshold values that we needed to collect. So now if we go to right here, the detection phase, again we're still using the scan.py. Okay. Try to run our detection phase. Okay, we see that no attack has been found. If we go over here and we turn on our Wi-Fi, we see that we have barely even tried to start connecting, and somehow it is still very much doing that. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and rerun the program just to make sure that nothing weird's happening. Okay, so we're just going to stand here for a second just to show that it is in fact waiting. Okay, and just to make sure we're not on the Wi-Fi. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and come over here. And then we're just going to go ahead and turn on the Wi-Fi. Okay. Alright, and just to make sure, see this right here. And the video wasn't playing. Oh, goodness. Alright. So the way that the actual program works, it will take about 3 minutes or so for it to stop alarming. But we can basically see that as we walked away, this right here is the actual score that we had found for both one cluster and two clusters. And we see that at this point in time right here, our first cluster actually downgraded, so we can see right here, which is exactly what we're expecting. When the machine learning k-means cluster tried to cluster two clusters, it actually gave us a lower score, which is why we now have a lower